Can you guys all see the shared screen? Just like anyone? Yeah, okay, great. Welcome to the Summer Smasher Student Showcase. We are all coming together, as many people as possible who participated in this program, to spend a little time to celebrate all of the accomplishments that we were able to pull off in the past 8 weeks through our program. And there's no better way to do that than to look at exactly who's been putting in all of the hard work, and it's been the students. All Summer Smasher students today get an opportunity to tell us about their projects and to tell us what they were able to gain from the program. And I'm super happy to collectively come together as a VSG family and just support them and thank them and tell them that they did a great job and give them the spotlight and the attention that they deserve. I want to mention one personal thing, which is that I spend a lot of time, and I've said this to the students before, and I said it to the founders maybe in passing. I spend a lot of time checking in with the founders at the garage. And we check in, we do updates weekly, and we do it to basically gauge their business, but also to gauge them on a personal note, to see how they're doing social, emotionally. And there's no comparison to how high their emotions are and how much better and more confident they are as founders during the Summer Smasher. The students who come in and support their businesses really make such a difference in their personalities and how positive they are. Like if the positivity dial was like a physical dial, during Summer Smasher, I see that dial get turned up, and it's because of all of the support from you guys as students. So I cannot understate or overstate this enough. You guys are truly great supports to the teams, and so thank you for all of your hard work. And before I let you guys start presenting, I want to make sure that I thank other people who are also a big part of the program. So a quick recap of the big difference between Summer Smasher in the past and this virtual program is that we actually offered a ton more through the program. So number one, instead of doing a single Oceanside chat a week, we split up our speaker series into a master class, a storytelling session, and an AMA founder session. And the reason behind this was because we really wanted to make sure that you guys still experienced all the same touch points that you would have if we were working within the garage space like we typically would. And so I want to say that through the masterclass series, which was just industry experts coming in and talking about innovation in those specific industries, Storytelling Wednesday, our entire mentorship team turning up and sharing stories from their myriad of experiences as investors and as serial founders, and really telling you what it looks like on a day-to-day. And then a founder like expose where founders were coming up talking about the ups and downs on a personal note and answering any of your questions. That whole series was very unique to this year, and I think it went really, really well. And part of the reason it went well is because we had a bunch of people investing their time and energy and experiences to share with you guys. So the masterclass speaker series, I just want to give a shout out to Ken Hayes, Rick Friedman, Ali, why am I blanking? Steve. So all of these, Natasha, Yin, they're all very important aspects of you guys understanding that as engineers, you can go really in so many different directions in innovation, and they gave you a little bit of a taste as to what it would be like in those particular industries. Following that, midweek, we were getting these really great in-depth stories from some of our mentorship teams. So I want to make sure that I give everybody that works at the garage supporting our teams just as much of a thank you, because they came in and let you guys know what it's like to basically live day and night in the trenches and told you real stories from their actual experiences, which are super valuable. And last but not least, I wanted to make sure that the founders get shouted out because they took time out of their obvious, very busy and hectic schedules to come and share with you how they met and what they were able to learn about their ups and downs. And so thank you so much to all the startup teams. And of course, none of this would have been possible if we didn't have people at the university supporting what it is that we do at the Viterbi Startup Garage. So Ellis and Giannis and Dave They were all very much happy to keep this program going this summer when everything was very questionable and no one knew what we were going to do in the summer. They all supported the idea of us continuing Summer Smasher this summer, so I wanted to give a special thank you to them as well. Now, I don't want to spend very much more time because, like I said, there's a ton of you guys that have plenty to say. So without further ado, I think I'm going to pass it off to the first team, the first presentation group, which is Semio. So I want to invite Abhishek, Henry, and Derek to take control of the screen share and tell us about your experiences.
Definitely. Thanks, Darcy. Just wait for Derek to share the screen. Derek, can you stop the presentation? Okay, thank you. So hey guys, I'm Sam, and joining me today are my two fellow interns, Henry and Derek, and we're going to be talking about Semio. So next slide, please. So Semio is an LA-based startup that is defining the way that people live, work, and play with robots. And their vision right now is to address two major problems. First one is that robots are just plain boring. They're unfriendly, and they do not know how to communicate with a person face-to-face when using appropriate facial expressions and body language. And the second problem is that so many companies are working on so many new robotic ideas right now, but in their own way. There is no standard in the industry right now that we can use to relate all of their work into a single cluster. So that's where Semio comes in. So with their goal to bring robots to life, make them friendlier, and provide developers a standard for when working with them. And this is how Semio's software enterprise Aurora allows robot developers to rapidly create and deploy robot apps, as well as allows robot end users to easily access and use these robot apps via natural communication, both speech and body language. So that's it for the pitch, and let me move on to my project now. Virtual character artificial intelligence. So a virtual character are characters that are found in virtual or simulated environments. And to be specific to this project, we're going to be looking at virtual characters that are not controlled by a human in virtual reality and video games. So as you can see in the GIF, there are three characters right now, one on top of the staircase and one following the user. So two not controlled by a human and one just controlling the virtual character out in the front. So goals. The drive behind this project is quite similar to that of addressing the problems that we saw with robots. Is that the difference is that we want to bring virtual characters to life. So as a proof of concept, I've been working on integrating Semio's tech with Unreal Engine, one of the most popular video game dev engines out there today. So video game developers can create really smart virtual characters that can perceive its environment, listen for instructions, and act upon them. But why? Because right now, virtual characters in video games have terrible AI. As you can see in the GIF, some of the AI features that Unreal Engine can offer right now in a dynamic environment is find a path from one location to another. The guy on top of the staircase, the character on top of the staircase, or follow predefined instructions such as follow me around. So, and that's not really intelligent. So how am I doing this? The idea is that we take virtual characters and we equip visual and audio sensors, provide algorithms for object detection and recognition, and it can interact with the intelligent beings in there. So to do this, I've had to first synchronize a bunch of information between Unreal Engine and Semio's engine. Like I've got to sync the microphone input for voice recognition. I've got to sync the user skeleton. I've got to sync the virtual character skeleton for gesture recognition. And I've also got to synchronize all the objects in the virtual environment. So the bigger picture that we're chasing right now is to achieve something like you asking the virtual character to do tasks for you, like pick up an object and put it somewhere else. Or you can have human virtual character conversations and even animate virtual character facial expressions and body language. So this is my project, and off to you, Henry.
This is Henry. I want to talk about my intern project, which is a map editor. So this project is a new feature to our existing platform we just talked about, which is Aurora. And in this map editor, it enables the user to import a map to our platform, and users can annotate that map by labeling different regions. And for example, if you want to tell like a robot, like there's a room that should be only be used by human beings, and you can label that region as a non-entry region for robots. and the robots will not enter that room if you label that. And this was a very front-end software engineering project, and it is very new for I have very little experience on a map editor, and next I'll show you how it looks like in our platform. So the different colors means like different layers, and in each layers you can add like a multiple regions to annotate the map. And we have a property panel. It shows what kind of property that region has. Next slide, please. Yeah, I'll leave this to our other intern, Derek.
Okay, thank you, Henry. Hi, I'm Derek, and my project is mainly about 3 different parts. And for part 1, supposedly we can get one object's motion data from the sensor. So my work is to visualize the trajectory in a decaying pattern. So let's see the video. As can be seen from the video, the right line is a single trace. And with the help of the dynamic reconfiguration, I can change the window time. I can change the time window during which the trajectory is visible. Like this, I change the value to 1.2. So I can see the corresponding length of the trace for 1.2 seconds. And for part 2, it's about visualizing the SOAR dataset. This dataset is composed of motion data captured by multiple kinds of cameras and LiDARs. And after rendering the whole thing, we can see from the 3D point cloud model that there are several people walking around in the room. And we can see some colored arrows. Those colored arrows indicate their head orientation in real time. And so this dataset can be used to train our behavior recognition model. So it's the final one. The final part is about body tracking and behavior recognition, and it's still in progress. We intend to use a stereo camera to capture and track people's different body parts. And after that, a pre-trained model based on best PTA algorithm will recognize people's behaviors. So in the end, I would like to use the word inspiration to sum up this summer experience. It's gonna kind of a little bit tricky word for many software developers. We really need some insightful ideas in order to move even a little step. I learned a lot from this summer because sometimes I need to make myself calm down and collect any useful information from the past failures. And they all inspired me and motivated me to make more progress. So learning from the setbacks and making reflections on problematic points make me a better and more professional developer than before. So let's hand off the mic to Sam.
Thank you. So one word to describe my experience is challenging, because for someone who's had absolutely no experience with robots or Unreal Engine, the difficulty in integrating these two together is grueling. But that's the whole point. I mean, you learn so much so fast and you're trying to achieve something that hasn't been done before. And it's an absolute bundle of joy and super rewarding when things work out. Thank you. Back to you, Henry.
Yeah, the word I picked for my summer experience is unprecedented. Because the reason I picked this word is I have very little experience on front-end software engineering, and pretty much all my intern about is all about front-end, and I need to learn brand new languages, brand new framework, but thanks to the strong support from my company and the summer semester team, I learned really fast and finally fell in love with it. And now pretty enjoyed the front end developing, and yeah, that's my word and experience for this summer.
Yeah, thank you guys, and we appreciate your listening. Thank you guys.
Great job, Semyo. I want to give, perhaps, because we have to be pretty cognizant of time, maybe Ross, I know Ross is on the line, an opportunity to say something nice. Are you here, Ross?
I am here.
Maybe just like if you want to just give a little bit of feedback on their presentation, or, you know, whatever your heart tells you to do, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's always funny. So as the pitch person, it's always great to hear someone else pitch your company, which was great. So you know, these guys really, frankly, they really busted their asses this whole summer, and I know that we're still going to be working with them over the next few weeks as well. You know, it's been a positive experience for us, and I know that for them, it's been for them and us, it's been challenging with COVID. You know, everyone's working remotely. I know every company is experiencing this, but I know that jumping into a new experience is just challenging on its own. So doing this remotely is added to that, and the team has really pulled through on that. And also, I want to, you know, just show my appreciation for the independence of these guys. So they did a really great job of, you know, doing the job, but also balancing things out, exploring on their own, failing as you need to on your own, and really engaging us when they felt like it was necessary. So yeah, I've had nothing but positive experiences, guys. Thanks a lot.
Excellent work.
Great presentation.
Excellent. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to pass the presentation over to Anushka and Sahitya of Open Sesame. They're one of 3 presenting groups for Open Sesame. And they're also using this really interesting presentation platform. Oh gosh, what is it called again? It's Prezi, which I'm like a big fan of. So I cannot wait for you guys to share your screen and get into it. So go on ahead.
Can you see it?
Yep, it's up.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to begin. That was a great presentation on senior, by the way. I loved what you all did. It was crazy. So, hello everybody. My name is Anushka. I'm here to represent Open Sesame, and I have Sahitya here with me. And we kind of knew each other before we started on this whole project. We did like a couple of classes together. We're both like pursuing our masters in computer science at USC, and yeah, that's about it. And I'm going to dive straight into the pitch. So Open Sesame launched this whole voice-first game called World Karaoke. And what you can basically do in that is compete against anybody in the whole wide world. You can compete with them, you can sing along with them. You have so many different features where you can just get on the platform together, which is also powered by 5G by Deutsche Telekom. And you can just do whatever you want on the platform in real time with super low latency and super high speeds. Now the whole purpose of like launching this app is twofold, I think. The first one is especially like in these COVID times to have like a better connected, like a fully connected world where you can just talk to your friends or even strangers anytime of the day that you want. So that's one. And the second one was to offer like a totally hands-free experience to all the commuters and users who are on the platform, so that we have very little distractions and like accidents based on people trying to use the app when they are in a vehicle. So this is what drew me to this whole project and why I wanted to be involved with it. It's a great product. I cannot wait for you all to try it out. And basically, a machine learning task was to like have like voice commands and convert that into say text, so that we can have actions based on those. So that's about the whole pitch, and I'm going to pass it over to Sahitya to introduce the data and the approaches that we use.
Hi guys, my name is Sahitya, and as Anushka mentioned, we want to create a completely hands-free experience of a user for them to operate the application. So how the engine works is that we get speech commands from the user and we map it to a particular activity on the apps. For instance, if the user says share, like, comment, subscribe, and the user gives the commands via speech, and that's converted to some activity that happens in the application. So that's where machine learning comes into the picture, and we use machine learning to convert the speech to and map it to a corresponding activity on the app. So we collected the data from Mechanical Turk because we needed voice samples of people with a lot of diversity with varied accents to create a very general, unbiased model. And the way we went about solving the problem is that both of us had a very similar problem solving style, which was an Occam's razor approach where we stuck with the simplest solution first. So initially we built a very naive model to identify unique characteristics of a song, convert them to a graph, basically the spectrogram, and that represents the frequency, pitch, and the volume in that particular audio sample. This was a good model, but it wasn't comparable to the complex model out there to perform the exact same task. So the next step was to use a pre-trained model, a model that is known to perform well, and tune it to our specific task in the application. So we went with Google speech recognition to convert the audio to a text file and map it to a particular activity on the app. But the problem with using Google speech recognition was that there were a lot of latency issues because it is an internet call that we make. We use the internet to actually get the text format of that particular audio. And since our whole application was real-time duets and 5G, this would mean more delays in processing, which we couldn't afford in the app. So the final approach that we actually went forward with was the WaveNet approach, which Anushka is going to be speaking more about.
Right. So WaveNet is basically a pre-trained algorithm which is offered by DeepMind, and it is really, really good. But the problem with WaveNet again was that we had like a trade-off between GSR and using WaveNet because GSR is by Google and they have like a lot of data, and obviously their whole product is like miles apart. But the thing with Google is that they do not give you the data, obviously because it's proprietary. So with WaveNet, because it's open source, we had a lot of the data available. So we could have all the data on the mobile device and just call the training model on the device itself. So this also answered and addressed a lot of our security concerns. But again, like I said, there was like a trade-off. So what we did about that is we integrated two really well-known algorithms called as SoundX and Equidistance to improve the accuracy of our original WaveNet model. So SoundX basically is like a phonetic-based similarity algorithm. So if you have two words like sing and sang, you want to be able to bucket them into the same class. The class shouldn't be sing because that's what the action is furthermore. So what we wanted to do is SoundX it would like assign a code word, say one I53 to sing and one A53 to sang, because there's just one letter which is different between them, which sounds different. So using that and edit distance, so again between sing and sang, the edit distance would just be one because only one letter differs. So basically, we were able to like get a very good classification model built based on WaveNet, SoundX, and edit distance, and we had an accuracy of around like 78% that we are really proud about because with just testing it on just like I think like 102 words, like about 100 words, we had super good accuracy, which is really great for this kind of an application. So that's the model that we ultimately used. And in the future scope, right now our model kind of supports only about 15 words, but we want to give it much more and many more wake words. Like with Alexa, it just right now wakes up with like, "Hey Alexa," but you want it to like be able to answer every and be like super customizable. So I think for the future scope of the machine learning part in World Karaoke, we want to integrate more words and phrases into it. We also want to develop something for vulgarity detection where even if there is no bad word in the abusive word in the song, and if commuters and people who are using the app use it, we want to like filter that out because it's a family app at the end of the day. So that's in the future scope. And this is the team. That's me and that's Ahitya. And for me, the most important learning from all of this was even when we were like developing GSR, we kind of knew that was the better model, but we had to like double down on it because we couldn't use it and deploy it to everybody. So what I'm trying to say is that what we learn in our coursework in college is completely different from like real world applications where you have to have like a really highly scalable application, right? So that transition was like super important for me, and that's I think the most important learning for me. And over to you, Sahitya.
Yeah, I think as she mentioned, the startup was a very fast-paced environment. We had to quickly iterate and quickly prototype. So communication was a great thing that we learned how we could keep the team and each other up, and how we could keep them up to speed and convey what we had done in as short a way as possible. And I think also the masterclass Mondays and storytelling Wednesdays and Founder Fridays really taught me how I could create an image for myself, how I could effectively share my story, my interests, and speak about myself with the confidence that I need to speak. I think communication and a lot of technical knowledge as well.
Great job, you two. And this Prezi, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this like singular presentation model where you get to like dive into specifics. It's such a cool concept. Let's see, I know we have Julian on the line. Julian, do you want to weigh in on this awesome super team that you had helping you out this summer?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I thought like Saiti and Anushka are amazing. What they're not also telling you is that one's in New Jersey, the other one's in LA. Yeah. And also Anushka was also doing something else at the same time. Actually, both of them were. So incredible work ethic, incredible levels of problem solving. And what was great was we gave them the autonomy to do it, but they figured out all those three approaches themselves. And then they would come in and check-in meetings, which means, you know, they're very self-starter. And they could communicate back to me, who doesn't know what half of that means. Yeah, so it was really good. Yeah, super proud of them. Trying to see how I can coerce them to stay with us. Anyway, yeah.
Continue on. All right, well, great work, you two. Now, moving right along, we are going to invite this StyleBot team to take over the screen. Ashwin, Luffy, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Really excited about this presentation. Go for it.
Hello, everyone. We're gonna be presenting the StyleBot team. So the team was divided into two different sub-teams, which was the development team and the business team. So for the development team, we have Yiquan, Luffy, and Ashwin. And then for the business team, Mena and I.
So hi, I'm Mena. I'm on the business team. StyleBot, which is founded by Laura Davis, is a virtual editing assistant that helps journalists with editing. It's basically written by humans and it's powered by machine learning. It increases efficiency in the workplace by taking traditional reference materials such as style books and turning them into a chatbot that answers questions such as what's the difference between farther and further, or should I mention race in my story? In today's fast-paced world, journalists don't have time to flip through a style book or search questions like that on Google. But StyleBot solves this problem by providing writers with instant, reliable answers through workflow tools that they're already using, such as Slack.
So for the business development team, Mena and I worked on the business plan. And so we first started by researching all the business templates that there are and finding the one that would best fit for StyleBot. We also did market research on the journalism industry to understand just where StyleBot fit in the industry. And then we also did market research on StyleBot's competitors to determine what was how we distinguish ourselves from the competitors. We also determined a pricing structure for StyleBot, since StyleBot has different types of clients. We also built an operational plan. And so this included the types of employees that StyleBot will need in the future and how many of them. And we also made some predictions for the financial models. So we did the break-even analysis and a financial plan.
Yeah, so let's see. StyleBot is originally hosted in Dialogflow, right? The chatbot development platform that's run by Google. Now, the problem with Dialogflow is that the process of deployment to multiple clients is a hassle. It's not very good. It's not very developer friendly. So we decided to migrate to another platform. So what we did, and that kind of brings me to the first point in the migration roadmap. We basically went through many platforms and scored them based on a benchmarking sheet that we developed. And just for your information, the shortlisted platforms were IBM Watson, then we had Amazon Lex and Rasa, right? So we decided to stick to Rasa because being an open source platform, it kind of gave us more control over our product. Yeah. So once that was done, once we decided to move to Rasa, we developed a prototype to test things out. And at this point of time, we also had to customize the bot responses. Customization in the sense that we wanted different clients to get different responses for the same user input. Now, why would this kind of a customization be required, you might ask? Well, in the world of newsrooms, different organizations usually have different copy edit policies that they like to follow, right? So you would ideally want your user to get responses based on the copy edit policy that his or her organization is following. So like once this was done, we were all smiles, we were all happy, like the testing phase is done. Now, like the road ahead should be easy. We just need to replicate this process using the actual data off of Dialogflow, and it would be all smooth sailing from now on. Yeah, that was not it. It's never that simple. So once we imported all of the data from Dialogflow, yeah, there was some big issues with the sheer bulk of data that we had imported. Like the testing phase was done on just 10 entries, but the data from Dialogflow had like 2,000 entries. So yeah, that brought problems with it. Just, and I won't like dive too deep into it because that would consume a lot of time. So just one example was the training phrases were very correlated, like they were not mutually exclusive. So whenever the bot was supplied with a input, the bot was getting confused, like it didn't know what to respond with. So yeah, we had to edit some of the training phrases to make them as mutually exclusive as possible, to remove that similarity in training phrases. So once that was done, that was the most challenging part of the internship, by the way. So once that was done, we had to develop a pipeline for like enhancing bot vocabulary, right? So whenever a user inputs a message or a sentence that is not present in the bot's vocabulary, you get the fallback message, which simply reads, sorry, I cannot help you right now. So whenever this happens, we basically just log the user input that caused this and use that to update the database that the chatbot is working off of. So this was kind of a very simple and robust solution to developing the bot vocabulary. And once that was done, yeah, all that was left to do was basically deploy it to Slack using AWS EC2 instances. And yeah, the project was complete. So next slide, please.
So thank you, Ashwin, for you already covered the overall project roadmap, and I will like dive into how we make a right decision. So in the very beginning, our founder Rola come to us saying, "Oh, I really need to get this done," but there is no method proposed at the moment. So our team, like we kind of have this knowledge of how to make benchmark. We propose this method called functional decomposition, which we analyze what are the most essential features of StyleBot, and then what are the features we expected from the new platform. And then we write them down. Each of us have the separate test to research on different platform. I'm on the IBM Watson, and Ashwin is working on Amazon Lex, and Yukun was working on Rasa. And then in the end, we just came together and we bring down this scoring matrix, and then we pick the winner based on top of that. And that's how we make a right decision in the beginning. And then I will hand over to Yikun to talk more about how we test this Rasa as our new platform, how we create a chatbot based on Rasa's technology. Yep.
Hi, I'm Yiqun. After we made the right decision, we began to build our chatbot using Rasa open source. We migrated 1,200 writing rules to Rasa, and we also connect Rasa chatbot with Slack. So you can just communicate with Slack, like communicate with your friends. We also built Rasa X. It is a tool for us to monitor the conversation of our users. Next slide, please. Here is some examples of how our chatbot would respond. In the first picture, as you can see, if you greet to the chatbot, it would say thank you, and it would give you a little tiger, something to cheer you up. In the second picture, it would give you a little cute cat, because we can customize our response based on different groups, different users. And we also add pictures and buttons in our response, which can make it more user-friendly. You can see in the picture 3, if you ask some questions about writing words, it can pop up some buttons. And if you click the buttons, you can get the corresponding answer for your question. In the picture 4, I'm typing some tricky questions for our chatbot, and she just very smart to answer. Yeah. Next slide, please. We also in the first picture, it's the interface of Slack. We can input our questions here, and it would give us response about writing rules. In the right picture is our Rasa X interface. It can monitor the real conversation. It can send back the data to us, and it can be displayed in Rasa X. It is very useful because as this conversation can be added into our training data, and it can help improve our chatbot. It can help improve our model, can increase the accuracy for the response. We also deploy our chatbot Rasa and Rasa X in Amazon Web Service, so it can reduce the downtime, and it can run in AWS for 24 hours. It never have downtime, and the latency is very low, no latency. Yeah, thank you.
So for the experience word, I chose teamwork because I saw how essential it was to complement our capabilities as a team in order to deliver a successful result. Yeah.
For my experience, I picked the word educational because I think that there's just something about working with a startup that makes you learn a lot more than working somewhere else. I think it's because you're given a lot of responsibility and you work with a much smaller team. And I also picked educational because there were times when I had to do a task. And for example, if I didn't know how to do it, then I would spend time researching and I would learn through that research. But there were also a lot of times when I would learn things from the founder, Laura, or from my teammate, Jimena, which, because Jimena is also older than me, she knows a bit more. So I learned a lot from both of them.
For me, the word is like ups and downs. There's a lot of time when we are doing the migration job, and it's frustrating. We kind of pull our hairs, and then Ashwin already stayed very late. We cannot figure out some stuff, but but we got together, we talk, and then we resume this process, and then we manage to solve all the problems. And we all proud of ourselves. And that's made me thinking startup life is just a combination of joy and frustration. And all those ups and downs is just a journey. And then I have my teammates with me, and I'm very happy to have this summer experience. Yep.
I choose the word communication. Just tell everyone, don't be shy to share your ideas. Otherwise, you may lose a chance to make a difference. It doesn't matter if you give a good idea or bad idea. If it's a good idea, it would make some contributions to the team. If it's a bad idea, maybe some others can help you give you some insights and help you improve. Thank you.
Yeah, so the word that best describes my experience here at Summer Smasher is motivation. I think finding motivation is the most important prerequisite, right, to making progress. Now, like during the pandemic, yeah, the Summer Smasher was nothing but a breath of fresh air, I feel. Like as for me, I think I have sourced most of my motivation from my team and my founder. They've been awesome, like great people to work with. And now that we've reached the end of the program, like I see what we've accomplished over the past 2 months, and I feel proud, like really proud of working with these guys. They've been absolutely amazing. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for
Thank
listening.
you. You guys are so amazing. Can I say, it's no surprise to me that Laura is your founder, because you clearly have been groomed by her. She's such a warm, supportive person, and I think that that's naturally how she's decided to lead her business. And I just feel the connection and warmth and open communication and support, which I think on a regular basis I feel from Laura. So I want to give Laura an opportunity to say something.
Oh, well, thank you, RC. I'm really proud of this team, and we just had like an emo team reflection earlier, and you know, we gelled really well. The team is just awesome, and I stressed, you know, how important it is to work with people who inspire you, and I'm so glad we were able to accomplish that on this team this summer. And yeah, there were a few moments. I just want to give everyone a shout out. There were a few moments. We had a few meetings this summer where I was like, we're fucked. We're at a dead end. We're like, it's going to be too hard to move forward from here. And then I wake up in the next morning to a Slack message. We solved the problem. And then even today we got on the call and Yuquan was like, I did it. I figured out images and buttons in Rasa X. And, you know, and to me, it's really exciting. And I hope everyone on this call who's interested in the startup world can take this away, which is, you know, it's exciting to solve new problems. You know, you can run away and feel like it's tough, or you can just be like, wow, cool, I'm doing something that people haven't figured out yet, because that was something we did with the dev team. Like, oh, well, there's no documentation about this. And I'm like, great, you're solving a new problem. So it was really an exciting summer of some ups and downs, like Luffy said, but overall, just super rewarding, I think, for all of us.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to move on to the next group, which is another Open Sesame team. Carolyn, Anish, and Jane, please feel free to take over the screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So this is Carolyn, Jane, and Anish on Open Sesame, and we are part of the marketing team. You've already heard about Open Sesame, but just to reiterate, we were working on an application called World Karaoke this summer, which is a voice-first singing application. And it's meant to be so that the users of the application can sing karaoke by themselves, or with other people in duets around the world, or with a group of people in car party, or if you just want, you can be solo. And the whole point is to sing together when you're not together. And unlike Instagram, which is based on more of aesthetics, or TikTok, kind of on dancing, World Karaoke is meant to be a place for everyone to express yourself, to sing your heart out, and to not really face any judgment. So it's kind of like surrealism. We got some like cool graphics in there, meets TikTok, and all together wrapped in karaoke. So my name is Carolyn. I am a upcoming junior at USC. I am majoring in computer science, and I'm minoring in designing for experiences. And at Open Sesame, my role was a graphic designer. So a lot of what I do is developing concepts with the other designers. So I can't really go too much into detail or visually in detail of what I've been doing because of the NDA contract, but a lot of it is kind of developing concepts for animations for the videos in the application, their voice filters that we wanted to animate and how we would visualize it, and also in terms of more on the marketing side, we were looking into creating a logo for the application and also layouts for television advertisements or in-store interactions. But yeah, my job is basically kind of helping develop those concepts and carrying it out with creating visual assets. And now I'm going to hand it over to Jane.
Hi guys, I'm Jane. I'm a rising junior at USC. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering, but I have a minor in product design. Next slide, Carolyn. So Anish and I worked together on these projects, and we worked to find the target audience through quantitative research, which was a lot of surveys and getting lots of responses from lots of different people to find out who our target audience was. And then once we found out who they were, we narrowed it down a little bit, and we did some qualitative research through customer interviews. So we interviewed 6 people, and we used that to make recommendations for future versions. We also partnered with Deutsche Telekom, and we worked with them to do more research on the German audience because this will also be launched in Germany. We did a lot of research on competitors and figuring out how to modify our app to be a competitive app. And yeah, all of that was with the goal to make recommendations for future versions of the app. Next slide, please.
Hi y'all, my name is Anish. I'm an upcoming sophomore and I'm studying computer science and business administration. Next slide, Carolyn. So so I work with Jane and we worked on marketing the product and figuring out the user audience and the different aspects of the app that need to be improved and the different aspects that need to be emphasized within the app. We also worked with a German marketing team to understand the German youth as we will be also launching the app in an international perspective. And it was really interesting to find the different perspectives and the different things that either American youth and German youth are looking for and the similarities and differences. And next slide.
So for my experience at Summer Smasher, or more specifically at Open Sesame, my chosen word was divergent. The reason is because I feel like during this program, I've had to have a different way of thinking, kind of thinking outside of the box. Because when I'm developing those concepts, I have to, there's some really wacky, like cool features that I normally don't do or think of in my day-to-day life. So a lot of it is divergent thinking.
My word for my experience with Open Sesame was eye-opening, because I haven't done a ton of work in marketing. I've done a little bit in some of my classes, but for the most part, I didn't realize how much work was put into understanding different people and what they want. And I thought that was really interesting, and I learned a lot through the whole experience.
And my experience was insightful. The last summer, me and my high school friends started a startup, and I had no experience in marketing at all. So I wanted to do this internship not only to get knowledge into the startup field, but as well as marketing. And coming out of it, I learned so much, and I'm so grateful for Julian for helping us throughout the process. And next slide. Thank you all for watching our presentation. Any questions?
Yeah, I think great job, you guys. I'd like to pass it over to Dana Aiken, who is one of our innovators in residence, who did a really great presentation on how to collect data and what data is important and what matters. And I was wondering if she had anything to say.
I really like how you guys approach this. I mean, again, Open Sesame I find really interesting all by itself with the whole karaoke piece. I mean, who doesn't love to sing in their car? But I like how you worked and got this international flavor to what you learned in this. I mean, that is such an important piece too in your programs when you can understand any, things that are beyond US. And so the fact that you got to work with, cutting edge technology with 5G and then also the German aspect with Deutsche Telekom is just phenomenal. So, and I loved how you built your presentation and the results of that. So well done and congrats.
Thank you, Dana. Great job, guys. Okay, so we're about halfway through all of the presentations. We only have 3 more teams left to go. And I know that we are like trying to stick to our strict timeline, but I think we do have about a minute. If anyone has any questions for the teams that have already presented, I know that it's kind of like a few presentations away, so it's kind of an odd place to put it, but I didn't want to give, I did want to give an opportunity for people on the call to ask questions if they were interested before we move right along. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so moving right along. Our next team that will be presenting is Roman Aerospace. So that's it. You're gonna notice that Jane is actually gonna stay on because she participated in 2 teams projects this summer. So I guess keep it going, Jane.
So it's me again, but I was part of the Roman Aerospace team as well with Redondo, Vince, Afaz, and Akib.
So Roman Aerospace is a startup targeting the advancement of drone control systems in order to support the growth of the drone industry. As time passes, drones are getting bigger and bigger and are getting used more and more frequently for carrying large cargo. Unfortunately, today's drone control systems are unable to keep up with the increasing demands that the drone industry faces, limiting the potential growth of drones in the future. As a solution, Roman has developed a unique control system that enables drones to handle the increasing demands of the future of large cargo delivery due to its novel software solution. And although it focuses on support for these future drones, the unique control system can also integrate with current drones to add 5 to 10% of the current flight time compared to present solutions. Now I'll hand it off to Rajendu.
So he is reconnecting right now. I think he's having some internet problems, perhaps. Rajendu, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Rudrendu. I'm a graduate student majoring in electrical engineering. My project with Roman Aerospace was with flight data telemetry storage system. Next slide, please. So flight telemetry data has a lot of important information regarding the sensors and actuators, which allow us to track the overall status of the flight vehicle. From the test flight, we can save the data in log files, and we further need data analysis by having the data stored in a customized storage solution. So the customized storage solution will allow us to analyze the flight telemetry data, which has important information like speed, elevation, GPS. And to implement this, I use the background of AWS, and my execution included running the simulation of flight vehicle, interacting with the data logger of simulator, and then after saving the flight data in a log file from the ground control station application, I had to use a backend script to upload that to AWS. Next slide, please. So this is the QGround control window, which shows us the different log files and gives us a timestamp of when we were flying the vehicle and when was the log stored and the file size. So gives us the overall status of the different log files and helps us keep a track of the different test flight data. Next slide, please. I would like to pass on to my groupmate Jane. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jane. I'm a rising junior studying mechanical engineering. For Roman Aerospace, I was working on the battery and power system design. So the goal was to create a viable and space-efficient design for the battery and the power systems. So to do this, we needed structures to hold enough batteries to power the drone and something to hold the power system in place. And this all needed to fit within the weight and size constraints. For this, I used SolidWorks to create CAD files to hold and organize all of the batteries and different power systems. In the future, these will be 3D printed to hold the power systems and all the batteries. A lot of research was required to find the most viable products such as batteries, power relay switches, stuff like that. The process was ever evolving, which was really cool. And we made a lot of changes to the designs and other elements. So that was cool, and it gave me a good look into startup culture. These are just some pictures of the CAD files. On the top, we have like a circuit board holder. Then we have relay switches at the bottom, and then a Raspberry Pi holder and a battery holder next to that. These are a lot of layouts for different battery structures. We went through a lot of different iterations and made a lot of different designs for different batteries. So that's some examples. Now I'm going to pass it off to Vince.
Hey guys, my name is Vince. I'm a senior this semester. I'm studying electrical engineering at USC. So next slide, please, Jane. Thank you. One of the tasks that I was given this summer was to build a sensor that measures the speed of the motor or the propeller of the drone. Sounds very simple, right? That's what I thought. So there are certain steps that I needed to do to be able to do this. First, I needed to calculate the time it takes for the motor to complete one revolution. In our case, we're not doing one revolution. We're doing 1/4 revolution to get more data, to get more accurate data, because the speed could be changing halfway of that revolution. Second, I needed to use a Raspberry Pi, an IR transmitter, infrared receiver, and a reflective tape. So the receiver works like this. It outputs 1 whenever it sees an infrared light, and it outputs 0 whenever it doesn't see an infrared light. And we're using the reflective tape to bounce off that infrared light coming from the transmitter. I'm not going to go into the details of how I did that, but that's basically the general idea of that. The third step, the complicated step, do a bunch of testing, making sure the sensor works as it's supposed to be working. And next slide, please. That's the position of the sensor on the drone, the yellow part. That's the bottom of the motor. It's calculating the speed of the motor. Next slide, please. And that's the actual sensor that I've built from scratch. Another task that I was given this summer is also to measure the current to each motor. I didn't have a slide for that, but I just needed to measure the current running through each motor just for them to get an idea of how much current the motor is running through. Yeah, and that's my project. And I'm gonna pass it over to Ifaz.
So hi, I'm Ifaz, and I'm a rising sophomore studying computer science. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I was in charge of creating a system that could accurately determine the center of mass of a payload within the drone. So these systems would then communicate with the flight control system in order to improve the vehicle's stability. So for this, I created some designs for different systems using 4 sensor tiles, a load cell tilt board, depth cameras, and tension sensors. As part of my project, I conducted research on some of these systems and created some CAD designs to show the different systems and highlight the strengths and weaknesses of each. That way we could help determine what we would go with in our final product. I then made system block diagrams to show the control flow between parts of each system. And along with these system block diagrams, I created some test programs for a Raspberry Pi. That way we'd be able to verify the ideas. And we also looked at the potential of using an Arduino-based system instead. That way we would improve the timing accuracy of measurements. Next slide. So here you can see a few of the CAD designs I created. The top 2 designs are for the weight tile system. The left one uses commercial force sensors that we would then embed into custom tiles and create like a grid-like system. And then the right one is a custom-made mat system that we would make ourselves using copper tiles and other materials. The bottom design is a tilt board system using a pivot and gyroscopes that would be able to tell the center of mass based off the tilt of the board. Next slide. And now I'll hand it off to Akib.
Hi, I'm Akib. I'm a rising junior studying computer science. Next slide, please. So what I was working on for my project was improving flight navigation software called Q Ground Control. So we got this great flight navigation software, but now, or we got this great flight controller, but we want to show off what the advantages of our flight controller is. So that's why I was tasked with creating a more intuitive design for the expected flight path of the flight vehicle. So what that meant was when you see the actual flight path on the Q ground control, it shows very jagged turns and not very intuitive. It's not a very accurate description of what the flight path would actually look like in real life, because in real life there's wind resistance, there's trees, and there's a lot of objects in the way. And so in that case, what I did was use custom C++ in QML front-end code in order to update the UI with our own calculations of what the flight path would actually look like. So next slide, please. And so as you can see from on the left, that shows you what Q ground control usually looks like. And so if you look at, I know it's kind of small, but on waypoint 3, it shows like a direct turn going from 3 all the way out of the map. And in real life, that wouldn't actually happen. It wouldn't just stop on a dime and turn. It would really make a more of a curved turn. And so we wanted to calculate and show how it would actually turn. And that was what I did in my project specifically. And so on the right, you see the actual simulator landed. And so you will see in an actual, when you run the simulator, that it would turn more on a curve rather than just turning on a jagged edge. Next slide.
These are our experiences in one word.
I'm gonna go first. So if I could describe this summer in one word, for me, it would be rewarding. It is rewarding because it is a really valuable learning experience for me to be able to work in a startup company and to be able to participate in the Summer Smasher program and learn more about building your own startups and all the information about the startup environment. Yes, so for me, this is a rewarding summer.
My word was educational, because before this experience, I hadn't had the opportunity to apply what I had learned in class a lot. So I had the opportunity to use all of these skills and learn a lot. And I learned a lot about using different softwares. And yeah, so it was super educational. Loved it.
My word for the summer was adaptability, because it's very important for me to be flexible to meet the changing priorities in a startup environment and to tackle the priorities based on the current scenario and to shift between different tasks and different areas of a project. That's what made my summer more interesting. So my word was adaptability.
So my word is experimental, because everything about working at Roman was an experiment for me. This was my first time working in a startup and working online with others on such a large project. Everything I developed was new to me, and all the work I was doing on the systems were experimental in nature. Although I developed them based on some research I did, they had to be remade in order to work with drones and their payload, which meant everything I had to do, I had to like figure it out myself on their implementation and then test them out. And in the end, this experience really worked out, and I got to learn a lot from it, and I enjoyed working with everyone.
For me, I thought this summer was an exercise in persistence. So what that means is, especially for all you developers out there that dealt with poor documentation, you realize how much code you have to work through and to weed through to find out what each individual file does. And especially when you have very complex software suites like Q Ground Control, which builds for 4 different platforms, you have to deal with a lot. And so especially when you deal with, like, a hint for future people, don't use Windows for developing C++ related stuff, use Linux. Yeah, it can be very frustrating dealing with all these compiler issues and poor documentation. So I thought it was great exercise in patience and persistence.
Thank you so much for paying attention and not falling asleep.
You guys, we would never. First of all, you serve as one of 2 teams that are a hardware team. I think Semio, although they're doing a lot of software development because it's robotics, still qualifies as hardware. So I was always really nervous for Roman's team, specifically because I know with hardware, you know, coming together and working on a physical project in a physical space is such a big part of building out a project. And so I just want to applaud your efforts and exactly what you were able to accomplish, because I do think you guys had an extra layer of complication that maybe the more software oriented teams didn't have. So great job kind of overcoming that additional stumbling block. And no, it wasn't boring. It was super duper fascinating. All your hard work is so clear from all of your visuals. Anyways, I want to pass it over to the Toms so that they can talk a little bit about their experience with you.
Yeah, we threw a lot of complex, interesting stuff at this team, and they absolutely crushed it. And then we changed what they were working on at the flip of a coin to reprioritize certain aspects of things, and they were very adaptable and kept crushing it. So we were super thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, they were all awesome. And actually, one of the things that we were most looking forward to at the beginning of the summer was like actually getting them into you know, our drone manufacturing space and have them all kind of knock away at it. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But yeah, they were super adaptable, and they greatly contributed to some of the. We have a contract with the FAA, and all of their work is directly contributed to that output, which was super helpful. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough about each and every one of them.
Yeah, I think one of the things, you know, just like similar to what I was talking about with Laura, and how like her personality gets kind of passed along. I feel like one of the things that I really appreciate about the Toms is just how knowledgeable they are about their field and how clearly and eloquently they speak about what it is that they're doing. And I think that they learned a lot of that probably through the I-Corps program, because you had to talk to many, many people over and over again about the same thing. But I feel like similarly, when you guys were explaining your project, you know, not being a technical person, I wasn't lost in the process, because I think you guys are speaking just as clearly as I feel Tom and Tom speak about their projects. So great job, everybody. That was so good. Okay, moving on. Gonna move it to the next team, Pocket CFO. That is Aaron and Chelsea. Please feel free to take over the screen.
Okay, I will share my screen. Hi everyone, we are Pocket CFO team, and I'm Aaron Sean, and I worked as a financial engineer intern in Pocket CFO, and I've graduated from USA this May, and my major is financial engineering. And my partner Chelsea Xia is in her senior, and her major is analytics, and she worked as a financial analyst intern. And I will let Chelsea to introduce Pocket CFO.
Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea. So as you can see here is a brief introduction of Pocket CFO. We are a SaaS-based company that provide cash flow tool. Our one-liner is Pocket CFO automates cash flow forecast and provides business owners real-time actionable insights to make better financial decisions, which means we have three major targets. As you can see on the right side, we will have a health score for our users when they connect their bank to our app. And we will provide a real-time cash flow visibility. As you can see, the graph below it is the cash flow trend for our users. And we will give personal insights for our users according to different situations. I will talk about this later. And also our major one special feature is scenario planning at the right side of this graph. Scenario planning, we have different situations. For example, we can have different headcounts if we want to hire new employees, or we can have fundraising events, or we can change our objective revenue. All these features can help us better help our customers to develop their business. Then I'm going to give it to Aaron to discuss his projects.
As for my summer project, I managed these three things. And the first one is financial health score algorithm, because this is This is the main function for our companies. And what I've done is I try to look for some materials about the features of startups and to based on 6 different dimensions to allocate weights for the different factors to calculate the company's financial health score. And the second thing I did was to modify the app user interface in Android Studio, because I'm a newcomer for the software engineer. So I just to try something I can do, like to adjust some features of the app, and with our technical. And the third thing I've done is to predict the startup's runway. And what I've tried is to use the time series model and machine learning model to try to predict the startups' pattern of cash flow and their runway, and based on their transactions, payment history, bills, and etc. And it's Chelsea's turn.
So for my summer projects, I have 3. The first one is what I just talked about Pocket Insights. Pocket Insights is what we give based on different users' financial situation. So we will have different categorizations. For example, according to users' different profit, different revenue, cash inflow and outflow, all this kind of stuff. We combine them together and we will send out personalized and actionable insight to help our customers to know what they should do for their business, what's their next step. And the next one is financial integrations. The good thing about our app is that we try to integrate as much as possible. So we will consider different integration opportunities for accounting software, banking software, payment software, and the CRM system, which stands for customer relationship management. All this integration will help us better analyze our customers' financial situation and give them better forecast and better, more accurate health score. And the third one is what I have just finished, is about waitlist user research. Research of the users who sign up our beta list, because we haven't have our app in Apple Store right now. We have our customers mainly through website sign up. So I analyzed our customers according to their geographic information, sign up time, and first reference sites to see what we can do better and how to gain more customers. First reference site means that which website led our customers to our official website. And I found out Facebook is the top one and Google search is the second one. So our next step will be Facebook campaign so that we can gain more customers. Okay, next, please.
Okay.
What I've learned during summer is being versatile. When I was in school, I mainly focused on homework, lectures, and I go to school, I came back home. So all I do is about our coursework, mainly focused on data. However, in Pocket CFO, which is the startup, and that's, I learned a lot, not only what I have learned in school. I learned so much that I cannot learn in school. For example, like financial professional terms and how to do the Google Analytics, how to be a better teammate, and how to do the product analytics. All the things are very interesting, and that's the reason why I wanted to join a startup company in the first place. So I think versatile is the thing that I have learned during the summer.
As for what I learned, I think it's to be expressive, because we have 3 check-in meetings every week, and during this process, we need to express what we've realized and what's about our new ideas, and also maybe you can ask for some help to our project. And I think to be expressive is really important for me. And also, like this presentation, we also need to be more expressive, to express what we've realized during our summer project. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Great job, you guys. I know we have Eric on all the way from San Francisco. Is that right, Eric Quick? Are you there?
Yes, and I am. I'm here with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. Yeah, super. You know, Aaron and Chelsea were just amazing for us as a team. You know, this summer we actually almost doubled the size of our team with Chelsea and Aaron and others that came on. And you know, we didn't give them kind of busy work. We tasked them with some things that were critical to our platform. Aaron specifically working on our cash flow logarithms and our financial health score, which is really becoming more and more the center of the universe for us as we think about the business and how we evolve into more of a, I'll call it a business credit company. And so, you know, Aaron was really good at not only just doing the work, but challenging us on our thought process and how we're getting to the numbers and what approaches we're using. And he used to show us different applications and different angles to take to get to the end result. Chelsea also worked very closely with me on something I'm very passionate about, which is really the institutional knowledge around cash flow management and how do we systematize or programatize that in the background of our platform so that when certain events or event-based logic is happening, it's spitting out something that's relevant and most importantly accurate and actionable for our customers. So I've had a ton of time spending with her over the summer, and we're really refining that both in the architecture and how it happens, but also the messaging and some of the other components. So yeah, Pocket CFO team's been just super ecstatic with the contributions that Chelsea and Aaron have made, and you know, look forward to seeing them do wonderful things in the future.
Great, thank you, Eric. Great job, guys. I'm going to hand it over to our final team. It is yet another team from Open Sesame. This is Snihal Jingwen Rutul and Shinyi. Go ahead and take over the screen as soon as you guys are ready. We're ready when you are.
You can see my screen, right?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, cool. Hey everyone, I'm Snehal Mulchandani. I'm a rising junior studying computer science at USC. And this summer, I interned alongside Jingwei, Rutul, and Zinyi at Open Sesame, and we worked on the World Karaoke project this summer. So World Karaoke is described as a casual, voice-first game where commuters sing karaoke against other commuters anywhere in the world. But if we look more into what kind of problem World Karaoke is solving and what it is, at its root, World Karaoke is a social media. What Instagram does for photos and what TikTok does for dancing, Open Sesame does for singing. So it connects two human beings who may have never met each other through a social audio interface where they can sing together in a duet or sing against each other competitively. Now I'm going to hand it off to the data streaming team.
Thanks, Nick, for the pitch show. And my name is Shin, and I'm second year master student in Viterbi School of Engineering, and my major is electrical engineering. And here data streaming team will start on our opinion regarding what we have done in this summer semester project. And me and Rutul are in this part. Next slide, please. I basically responsible for some deployment on AWS. In order to connect different components of this project, I need to set the API gateway between Amazon users and Google Dialogflow, and this API acts like a key here. And the Lambda function could be used to make the authentication parts. And we also need to make sure that the authorized user could access the specific items on the AWS S3 bucket. And we want to make sure only some of the users could change the content in some of the buckets, and those who are not authorized can only read the contents rather than make some changes to it. And to achieve this, I wrote the IAM policy to restrict some permission on S3 and the Cognito user pool. And here we also need to make the authentications for the Cognito user pool and the identity pool. And I will hand over the slide to my partner. Thanks.
Hey, hi everyone. This is Rutul Pandya, and I did my master's in computer engineering from USC Viterbi, and I'm currently working with AWS. So the major role was creating an infrastructure on AWS platform. So we have millions of users. So we predict that there will be millions of users of Open Sesame. So at that particular point of time, you need to handle multiple accounts, pools of multiple accounts. So at that particular time, you need a bunch of administrators. So we went up and we created a control tower for that purpose, and we created organizations, as in developers should have specific permissions and administrators should have permissions specific related to it. And for users, you don't need to give every permission to user because of security reasons. So we went on further and we went with AWS Cognito Service, which was used for authentication. It is a federal standard. Uh, I would say it is basically, there are a couple of reasons why we selected AWS Cognito. We'll go in it in the next slide. And regarding cloud formation, so cloud formation is a technology that is, it's all just in a code. So you need to deploy control tower, you need to deploy EC2 instances, but cloud formation is like you have one piece of code, you deploy that particular thing, and all the resources on AWS is handled after that. And we also made a pre-analysis for handling speech data, as we also discussed in Stylebot, which was using Rasa on EC2 cluster or using Amazon Lex. So our prime focus was cost. We have 36 million requests per month. So if we use Amazon Lex or we use Rasa X server for our handling speech data, then it would cost us a lot of money. So we prefer using Rasa. We deploy our own Rasa server on the EC2 cluster, and we have auto scaling groups on that particular thing, and which will be very cost effective. I would say 20% of what we spend on Amazon Lex. So we went on further and we selected Rasa. Next slide, please. And why AWS Cognito Suite? So Open Sesame use case is it's secure and scalable. So it can handle millions and hundreds of users at the same time. And plus it supports social enterprise identity federation, which is similar to what we have in USC, which is SAML based authentication. And it supports all other Google based or Facebook based authentication, which users can use and with a single sign in. So next. I'll hand over to the data science team. Jingwan, please.
Hi, my name is Jingwen Yan, and I'm a master student learning analytics in the Viterbi school. Me and Senhao are doing the data science part together in Open Sesame. So during these 8 weeks, our data science project mainly focused on 3 areas. The first one is song curation, that is set up the initial song library for our platform. And the second is the recommendation algorithm. We design different algorithms to recommend songs to the users that they may like. And the third part is for growth, since we want to encourage users to create more content. That means we want them to sing more and increase their retention. So we need to provide the users with songs that satisfy their interests. Define the utility of each song by how many users have interaction with that song, and replace the unpopular songs with new songs the users may like. And next slide, please. So my main job is the recommendation algorithm. In this project, we mainly used 2 algorithms. One is the user-based collaborative filtering recommendation, and the other is the content-based recommendation. So in the user-based CF recommendation, we calculate the user's interest to each song by giving weights to the user's different interaction with that song, and then calculate the similarity between each user to find the most similar user with that target user, and then recommend new songs from the most similar user's interest to the target user. And for the content-based recommendation, we analyze the user's singing and listening history on the platform to find out the common feature or keywords of those songs, then recommend new songs that have the similar keywords with those songs. And this part will be further introduced by Senhao later. Thank you.
So one of the problems that I had to work on was the song curation problem. So this was a problem because it was trying to find the correct balance between user experience and costs. We wanted to have your song that you want to sing, but we don't want to hold too many songs because there are leasing costs associated with each song. So since Open Sesame is releasing in Germany, I started by analyzing trending and popular songs on all major music streaming services in Germany. And then I focused on choosing songs that were family friendly and going viral. The reasoning behind family friendly songs is because one of the markets that we found when we did our market research was that families would be singing and would be engaging in this app together. Then I focused on choosing songs to increase song diversity. So as you can see on the graph on the right, that is the initial list of songs that I got when I was running through my analysis and my script. And it's really front loaded towards hip hop and rap. And at a certain point, adding more hip hop and rap songs would not increase user experience as much as adding alternative or dance songs, which obviously I found less songs for, as you can see on the right. The next part of what I did was song recommendation. We wanted users to make more content, but how do we do this? We get them to sing more, but how do we get them to sing more? Well, we recommend them songs that we hope that they would like to sing. So I approached this by first gathering song metadata from Spotify. Some of the things I got were like energy and valence. Valence represents mood of a song. And then I found the closest song based upon that metadata and the genre of the song itself. So here's an example. This was the 5th highest song on the Germany charts this week, I believe, in Spotify. You guys can hear the audio, right?
No, I don't hear it, but is it playing?
Yeah. Is there... share computer sound. There we go.
Yeah.
So you were able to hear that little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that was a German rap song that was top 5 on the Spotify charts this week. And then this is what my algorithm told me was the closest song based upon the metadata and the genre. So I thought it was interesting that even though I didn't take into account language per se, the algorithm was able to find another German hip hop song based upon that first one. Now I'm going to pass it on to Xinyi to talk about her experience.
And I want to mention the keyword during my summer semester experience, and here I chose the improvement. This includes many aspects like the working ability, learning methods, and the communication skills. For my own experience, this is my first time to learn the AWS in details. So it really feels great to learn more skills in the process of using it. And in the summer semester, I also get in touch with these new people. It might be hard to know these guys in class and only or just in the campus. It's great to work with the experienced entrepreneurs and the students here. And here, really thanks for our CEO Julian and our line manager team and Wendy. They're so great and they help me a lot. So this is my biggest improvement during this experience. Thanks.
So I choose the word persuasion. It's like whenever you come to a decision, you need to weigh your pros and cons. So you need to persuade your manager or either anyone else or making any decision in life, you need to make pros and cons. So that's it. That's my entire experience with Summer Smash. Thank you. Yeah, next.
The word I chose is big picture thinking because I like teamwork. So can you hear me clearly?
Start over. I think maybe there's a little bit of feedback. Go ahead, Jingwen.
So I mean, the word I chose is big picture thinking because unlike the projects or teamwork I've done, where there are people always telling me what to do and design text step by step. But in the Open Sesame, me and Senhao make most of the decisions and plans by ourselves. So that means we have the opportunity to think of the problem from a whole picture. And I really enjoy this kind of freedom and the sense of being trusted. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Jingwen. I thought that this internship experience was very unlike school, where you're just curated to solve a little set of problems that you know there is a solution, and you know that you'll figure out that solution eventually. And so that kind of contributed to my work, which was just fun. It was fun meeting new people. It was fun challenging myself. And most of all, it was really fun learning both the technical and business side of things over at Open Sesame. So that's our presentation. Thank you for listening. I wanted to say thank you to Tim, Julian, and Steve, because they mentored and supported us there, and they let us into their startup. And I also want to thank you, RC, and also Cami for setting up Summer Smasher, because it was actually, it was really informative and really fun learning from all the various people you guys brought in.
Thank you. Actually, I wanted to give me, the unsung hero, or I guess I sing her praises all the time, an opportunity to say something before we close out, because we are 1 minute after, but I think it's important for us to all kind of gather together as a group and thank Cami, because this was the first year, maybe you guys don't know this, that we really pushed an experience on Instagram to kind of have a more social experience, which she totally headed, along with many, many other things in coordinating an organization. So please, Cami, share with us your experience from the summer.
Hey, thank you. Hey, everyone. So I'm the Summer Smasher intern this year. I had a great time getting to know everyone through Instagram, which was super fun for me to learn how to navigate. And I also had a great time learning more today about all the amazing work that you guys have been doing. It's so cool. And you guys should be so, so proud of yourselves. I learned so much myself working with the fantastic RC, learning about what it takes to run a successful program. It's been awesome working with you, and especially virtual, because that's never been done before. So that was cool and challenging, but really rewarding. And also, even though I didn't technically participate as a student in this program, I've also learned so much from all the amazing speakers and founders that have come in to talk at Summer Smasher, a lot of which I will take with me after I leave this program into the professional world. So thank you so much. But that's all I wanted to say, really. Thank you, everyone, for an amazing summer, and I wish you all the best of luck moving forward.
Bye, everyone. Look out for your certificates of completion and letters and our closeout offboarding email. We will miss all of these times that we've spent, but I just cannot say how much I appreciate and how proud I am of all of you guys coming together and showing up like this. This was really amazing. So, and the first of its kind for the Viterbi Startup Garage. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.
Well done and good luck.
Thank you, Dana. Thanks for everyone who supported. Bye-bye.